You might be surprised to learn that a whopping 76% of buyers have expressed some level of regret about their purchase. Whether it's overspending or feeling dissatisfied with the property itself. There's a range of feelings and regret. But what's behind these roller coaster experiences? If you're curious to learn more about what buyers are experiencing after making one of the biggest purchases of their lives, then keep watching because we've got some fantastic insights to share. Okay, let's take a deep dive and explore the reasons behind why a staggering 76% of buyers have expressed similar feelings. But it's not all bad news. We're also going to discuss how you can avoid, falling into the same trap and making sure that you're fully satisfied with your new home. So, if you're looking to avoid buyer's remorse and make sure that your home buying experience is a success, then stick around to the end because we've got some valuable tips and insights to share. So if you recently bought a home during this unprecedented time period, I want to hear from you. Have you, experienced any feelings of regret, or are you completely satisfied with your purchase? Share your thoughts in the comments below and, help others who are currently in the process of buying a home. Your valuable input can make a real difference, so don't be shy. Let us know about your experience. So at the top of the list, we've got around 30% of home buyers who are feeling like, they might have spent a bit too much on their new digs. Well, interestingly, it seems like, first-time home buyers are even more likely to feel this way, with about 21% more of them experiencing buyer's remorse compared to those who have been through the process before. And I can totally see why, this is the case. Buying a home can be pretty complex, and it's an overwhelming process, especially if you're not too familiar with the ins and outs of the real estate market. And let's face it, when demand is high and supply is low, like it was in the recent seller's market that we had, buyers can feel pretty pressured to make an offer that's higher than list price, just to snag that home. But then, when the market cools off a bit after the purchase, it's understandable that buyers might start to feel like they overpaid compared to the current situation. It's really no surprise to me that first-time homebuyers might be feeling this way, especially if they bought in the first part of 2022. Okay, now let's talk about the 26% of homebuyers who felt like they moved too quickly. So in the past few years, especially the first half of 2022, decisions had to be made more quickly if buyers wanted to secure a home. So, there were bound to be people who regretted their hasty decisions. As a realtor, I had many clients who felt the pressure. So we would have conversations about this before we even went to look at homes. I wanted to make sure that we had a clear understanding of what was the most important thing to them so that we could, I could help guide them and know when to act fast. There were times after looking at a home that I could tell, my clients were trying to convince themselves, that it could work. But then I would just try to remind them that patience was key and the right home would come along. And, this is a tough position for a lot of buyers, especially for those who needed a home urgently. But in the end, patience always proved to be the right call. So let's discuss the 25% of homeowners who say they didn't fully understand all the costs, associated with owning a home. Many of them were hit with unexpected costs and maintenance issues that they hadn't anticipated when they made their purchase. These unforeseen expenses and repairs, they led to regrets about their home purchase. Some homeowners waived their home inspection, leaving them, unaware of what they were buying into. And more than half of these homeowners, have experienced unexpected problems since moving in. It's important, so important to do your due diligence when buying a home, to be fully aware of all of the potential risks and costs involved in home ownership. As a real estate agent, I never recommended completely waiving the home inspection. However, I have had some buyers say, in the contracts that they were gonna do inspections, but they wouldn't be asking for any repairs just to move forward with the purchase. But this way, they know what they're getting into. So even, if you have all your inspections done and you agree on repairs, something can still break down after moving in. And this also can lead to regret, especially when buyers have had to compromise on features or maybe a location just to secure a property in a competitive market. In the end, it's always important to understand all of the costs associated with homeownership and be realistic about what you can and can't compromise on. You might be surprised to learn that even the wealthy are not immune to home buying regrets. About 15% of luxury home buyers in the past 2 years have expressed dissatisfaction with their purchase. This stems from various factors such as unexpected lifestyle changes and remote locations, that once seemed ideal, but now they feel isolating. Some of these buyers may have overlooked, the lack of neighborhood amenities in their rush to secure a home. And with many of these homeowners, returning to full-time office work, some are now regretting their choices as, the longer commutes and their renewed importance on a social life means that they are spending more time in the car, which, let's face it, that can be a hassle. So this fourth regret sheds light on how many homeowners are reevaluating their choices. In fact, 64% of them have expressed that if they could turn back time, they would have opted for a completely different home, and 63% of them stated that they would have delayed their purchase altogether. Looking back, it's easy to see what could have been done differently, but during the highly competitive seller's market, buyers had limited time to make decisions. And as I mentioned before, it's crucial to identify your non-negotiables and stick to them regardless of the market conditions. Working with a trustworthy professional who can remind you of these priorities is essential to avoid, getting caught up in that frenzy and making poor choices. Ultimately, it's not the market that determines if you're happy with a home purchase. It's about being clear about what you want and sticking to it. Around 15% of home buyers that aren't happy with their purchase are seriously thinking about selling it. This just goes to show how important it is to take your time and really think things through before making a huge decision. But there's also some good news. Lots of homeowners, they're not just sitting around feeling regretful. In fact, 55% of them are determined to make improvements and upgrades to their homes to turn their homes into spaces that they are truly happy with. And get this, out of everyone who's already made some of those changes, a whopping 77%, they've said that they've increased their pride in ownership, motivating them to stay put. So buying a home can be an exciting and a rewarding experience, but it's important to avoid common pitfalls that can lead to buyer's remorse. So if you want to avoid buyer's remorse and ensure that you're fully satisfied with your new home, I have a free guide for you with some valuable tips and insights to help you make the most out of your home buying journey. So I've pinned the guide in the comments below, and I've also put it in the description box. So be sure to get this guide after the video. By following these tips, you can avoid buyer's remorse and make sure that your home buying experience is a success. And remember that buying a home is a big investment. So take your time, do your research, make an informed decision that you'll be happy with for years to come. So if you've purchased a home within the last 2 years, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you share any of the feelings that we've discussed, or do you just love everything about your current living situation? Let me know in the comments below.